Hello and welcome to today's Facecast. We are in the pink today, and it's not quite such a sunny day, but I'm sure it's going to be a nice day anyway. Did you read the rest of Mark's Gospel, chapter 4, yesterday? You didn't? Okay, I'll read it for you. I'm so lazy. Mark's Gospel, chapter 4, verse 39. Well, remember in verse 36 and 37, a squall grew up on the Sea of Galilee, where Jesus was in a boat with his fishing friends, and they turned to him and said, "Aren't you going to save us?" Well, he was asleep in the boat while all this was happening. Well, it continues. This is chapter 4, verse 39. He got up, rebuked the wind, and said to the waves, "Quiet, be still." Then the wind died down and was completely calm. He said to his disciples, "Why are you so afraid? Do you still have no faith?" They were terrified and asked each other, "Who is this? Even the wind and the waves obey him." Well, I would probably be terrified too if I was them, sitting there in a boat which was about to be swallowed up by the waves that had suddenly sprung up, and then all of a sudden they stop because he tells them to. And they've spent time with him. They know who he is. They've been travelling with him. And yet they ask, "Who is this?" In other words, what power does this man have that he can still the waves? This is something extraordinary, something completely outside of our understanding, as if the things he hadn't already been doing like that and will continue to do like that. But it's a realization for them, isn't it? Because they're on this journey with Jesus. And that's what this is really about. It's when we're on that journey with him, travelling along the road of life with him, that we understand more about him. In fact, it's only when we're on that journey with him that we understand more about him, as we see him at work in our lives. It might not necessarily be calming waves on a lake. It might just be answering that simple question of, how do I get out of this difficult situation, Lord? Or what must I do to make things right with this person, Lord? Or what's the right attitude for me to have in this situation? Those rather more simple everyday things need answers as well. And when we journey with him, when we travel along the road of life with him, those answers are there for us. They become known to us. They become clearer to us. And what does that do? It continues to build our faith. They're at the beginning of their faith journey with him. And it takes a while for faith to be built. We can express our faith in Jesus once we come to believe in him. Yes, I believe in you and I'm going to follow you. And then the journey comes and our faith grows and deepens. And it's only in the experiencing of those things that happens. So that's what's happening here. It's an indication of how we must live our lives with him. We put ourselves in his hands, not just when things go wrong, but all the time. And we see how he answers the problems and the troubles that come our way. He does that usually with us and through us. This is in some ways exceptional. He speaks to the elements around him directly in order to show them who he is. Most often, he uses us to be the answers to our own problems. He reminds us of how we should be and how we should think, what we should say. And he leads us into the path ahead. It's not always easy. Sometimes the path is a narrow path and it's difficult. But it's the right path because the outcome will be the right outcome. All of these encounters that Jesus has with his disciples and all the people he meets are all pointing towards something else. They're pointing towards this thing that Jesus has come to initiate, to start, to inaugurate, and it's called the kingdom of God. It's God's way of living in this world. It's what all of these passages, all of these accounts are about, living God's way in this world. And Jesus is the example for us. We know it, but do we follow it? That's the question for us, isn't it? See you soon. Bye for now.